I'm going to talk about one of the most unfair mechanisms that the justice system currently has, and that unfair mechanism is legal aid. Run the intro. Party walks into a solicitor's. It might be a man, it might be a woman, it might be a mum, it might be a dad, and they declare to that solicitor that they are a victim of domestic abuse. They have no requirements to prove it, they only have to declare it and allege it. That solicitor then makes an application to legal aid and says, I have got a new client come through my door. They have been a victim, by this point it's true, they have been a victim of domestic abuse. Consequently, they need to be supported with legal aid in terms of the family law proceedings that we are about to launch on their behalf. Legal aid is granted 99% of the time. In allegations of domestic abuse, legal aid is granted. So we now have a party who has got legal aid. They haven't proved at this point that the allegations are true. All they've done is stated it, and they've got legal aid on that basis. We now go into court. In court, we have got, on one side of the room, one party funded by legal aid. They have with them a solicitor and a barrister, because it's all being paid for by legal aid. On the other side of the room, we have got the other party who has, let's say they've got us with them as a McKenzie friend. Let's say they've got McKenzie Picave with them. So they're on the other side of the room because they haven't got any money. They haven't gone down the legal aid route because they are actually a victim of domestic abuse, and consequently they're so belittled and so vulnerable that they're not thinking straight. Hence the reason they came to us to try and sort them out. And we're assisting where we can. So here we are. We're already in the room, and we're already unfair because one side has got fully funded legal representation, the other side has got essentially, in pure terms, has got nothing at all apart from our support. The proceedings carry on, and they carry on over a number of months and over a number of hearings, and at some point there is a fact find. That fact find is to explore the allegations of domestic abuse. Now, by this point, in this particular case that we're talking about, the allegations are now coming both ways, because our client is also making very serious allegations of domestic abuse. So we've now got two sets of allegations of domestic abuse to explore. A fact find takes place. Findings are made. Now, unsurprisingly, our client is found innocent, in inverted commas, of all the allegations. They never took place. It was a work of fantasy on the part of the other party to even suggest it. But the other party gets found guilty, in inverted commas, of all of the findings of abuse. So what we now have in that courtroom is our client with no findings of domestic abuse. We've actually established that they are the victim of domestic abuse, and they continue to be unsupported, with their only support mechanism being ourselves. Other side of the courtroom, we now have a proven perpetrator of domestic abuse. We have, it may be sexual assault, it may be financial abuse, it may be psychological abuse, emotional, physical, whatever it may be, but they are a proven perpetrator of domestic abuse, but they are being funded in their legal representation by the legal aid scheme. Now, at this point, obviously, the legal aid scheme becomes aware of the fact that they lied on their application. The legal aid scheme becomes aware of the fact that actually they are the perpetrator, and they withdraw their legal aid because it's no longer appropriate, is it? That's an absolutely sensible thing to happen. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen. There is no review at any point of a legal aid purse. The only time there is a review of a legal aid purse is if the party steps forward with fresh information. Now, is that party going to step forward and tell legal aid that actually I am the perpetrator of domestic abuse? Of course they're not. So we now have a situation where for the duration of those proceedings, the party who is the perpetrator, who is the abuser, now continues to abuse their victim, our party, because they now have the full weight of barristers and solicitors supporting them in their endeavour. Because there is no review process, there is no proactive review process within the legal aid system in order to establish whether legal aid continues to be relevant and appropriate during the course of proceedings. That is fundamentally wrong. I have too many cases within this practice where we are fighting against people who are funded through legal aid and just should not be, because they are the perpetrators of abuse. But the system has fallen down. The system has fallen down. Legal aid, yet another system within the family court that is just not working.